he stood up and he told me to bow down. And I asked him why, and he didn't respond. He just told me to bow down again, and I told him no. He threw me on the bed, and I remember looking up at him and asking him, please stop, Chad, it's me. And I just immediately knew the look in his eyes, that was it.
If you have grown up in the ecosystem of Black America, you have probably heard this phrase, the white man's ice is colder. And that simply just means, in respect to white people, whatever they do is much better than what we do, which is why blacks subconsciously worship lighter skin. We want to look like them, talk like them, act like them, acquire the same things that they have to be more like them, even though we don't realize we are doing this. Even though we talk pro-black and we say black first, we really think white first. And so any chance we get to be closer to whites, you see that happening. And especially when it comes to dating and relationships. Speaking of dating and relationships, interracial dating is a very hot topic in Black America, amongst Black men and Black women. But in Black women, they are tired of us. They are ready to go to the white man because they feel that the white man's ice is colder. And there are full economies around the topic of Black women dating white men. And you hear things very similar like this.
And I have a confession to make, you guys. I have to be honest with you. I do have a confession to make. When I wrote the book Swirling, How to Date, Mate, and Relate, Mixing Race, Culture, and Creed, I said, you need to date everybody. Expand your options. It's a numbers game. Okay, ladies, Black women, we know what the issues are. We know we outnumber Black men by the millions. We know we have a specific group of relationship challenges that cause us to have to make certain decisions about relationships. So expanding your options just makes common sense. But we never really talked about what group of men is the most amenable to interracial relationships. I knew the whole time that it was white men. And the results play that out. Also, when I see the wedding videos and people who write to me, the majority of the time, the Black women who follow me, who write back and say, I've had this great experience. I dated and I married a guy. The guy is usually white.
Oh, that's important because white men usually are the best option for Black women, especially for the reasons that she mentioned. You know, Black men are in jail, Black men could possibly be gay, all those other factors that you hear all the time. White men are just a better option. And so some Black women believe that the white man's ice is colder. Just because he's white, he must be right. But it's very easy to talk about the things that go well in interracial relationships. It's easy to brag about it until something bad happens and you never talk about it on that side. But that's okay. That's what I'm here for. Because there was a beautiful Black woman by the name of Aaliyah Taylor who was dating, at the time, an NFL offensive lineman by the name of Chad Wheeler. And Chad Wheeler has a lot of problems. He had them at USC. He had them in high school. But when she got with him, she felt like the white man's ice was possibly colder until it wasn't. And in this clip, we're gonna hear her say why it wasn't.
I remember getting up and running to the bathroom. Chad was standing by the bed, by the doorway, and he was sipping his smoothie. I was like, wow, you're still alive.
You see, because Chad Wheeler almost beat this lady into an inch of her life. The pictures that are on the internet that we cannot share here are very sad and troubling. And guys, I hate to say it, but it's really, really graphic. And if you Google them, and for those of you who remember what they look like, you would understand what I'm talking about. And Chad Wheeler was not even disgusted by what he did. He pled not guilty. But of course, we didn't hear any of the divestors talking about this white man who did this to this Black woman. They continued on hating on Black men, people like Cynthia G. Oops, she's no longer here on the platform, but you get what I'm saying. But that's what you kept hearing. But you know what? I also didn't hear when this guy, James Patrick David, had a disagreement with his wife, Janine Chapman. It was nothing to be said about this, but it's okay. I'll play the clip here.
A man wanted for murdering a woman in downtown Dallas was caught and arrested in Austin. Investigators say 46-year-old Janine Chapman was found dead inside an apartment in the National Building on Elm Street Monday afternoon. Her family says the suspect was an on and off boyfriend who married Chapman over the summer. Fox 4's Amelia Jones live in Dallas with the story. Amelia.
Heather, Janine Chapman's sisters described her as fierce, loving, and ambition. Her murder blindsided them, especially since the suspect was a man who was so close to their sister.
And she was an entrepreneur. She was getting ready to start her own business. So she was really ambitious, living life to the fullest, and just trying to accomplish all these different goals.
46-year-old Janine Chapman was on track to achieve those goals. Her sisters, Nicole and Crystal Marshall, said she just started a new job and was working on starting her own business.
She was all the way around a good person. So this is the last thing that we were just completely blindsided by this.
Dallas police say Monday afternoon, officers found Chapman dead in an apartment inside the National on Elm Street in downtown Dallas. Tuesday, the medical examiner confirmed Chapman was murdered. 48-year-old James Patrick was identified as the prime suspect.
And now Chad Wheeler is finally going to be convicted of what he did. He's going to be guilty of first and second degree domestic violence assault and not guilty of unlawful imprisonment. And now she said that she finally has justice on her Twitter. He'll be sentenced sometime very soon, and he'll do some hard time in prison. But again, my question is to these ladies out here who believe that because a man is white, he's going to be right. Let me tell you something. There are so many black women who have roasted people like Jeezy for going out and getting an Asian woman, right? There are so many. I see it all the time. And what do they say? Well, you know, this Asian lady, you thought she was going to be submissive. But look at you. You know, that would have served you right. You thought the grass was going to be greener on the other side. Look at you now. Now you want to come back home to black women. But that same person, if you hear that a black woman is getting married to a white man, oh my God, they're like, happy music. Oh my God, baby. Thank you, Jesus Christ. You getting white zaddy. You getting zaddy. How can you? Do he got a cousin? Do he got a play cousin? I mean, do he got a grandpa? I mean, he ain't even got to be living. I'll still date him. Like, I'll go to the cemetery and take a picture by him, boo. I need white zaddy. I need white zaddy. I need white zaddy. Hypocritical as hell, but you will get on black men all day if something happens with their white girl. If their white girl leaves them, breaks them, takes their money, you don't have any problem with it. But see, the reality is that just because you get with somebody because they're white, it doesn't mean that they're going to be right for you. I mean, it's just the truth. There are crazy people all the time. I've covered many stories in the last 2 years of black women being victims by their white husbands in some way, shape, or form. And I'm so happy that Aaliyah Taylor got justice. And if her preference is white men, that is one thing. But to have a preference for white men or white women just because you hate black men or black women, that is the issue that I'm always going to deal with on this channel. Because the thing about it is, it's not right. You see, the one thing about whites and other groups, they want to build up their community, right? They will deal with the struggles that they have, but they want their people to be successful. I'm over here right now in Uganda, and one of the greatest people in the economy over here are Indians. Indians will never get on camera and talking about how they just would love to go over and deal with a white man. They would love to deal with somebody from Africa. That's not going to be their perspective. Yes, of course, they have people in their community that also have issues. We all are going to have liars, scammers, and cheaters and people who do bad things in any community. We are humans. But what they will do is go and they'll try to clean their people up. What I keep seeing here on social media, especially with, you know, a lot of black people on either side, black men and black women, it's let me leave the people in the community so I can go to somebody else's community. And then when you start getting abused by that person or they start calling you racist names, then all of a sudden it's time to play the victim role. Like, oh my God, I can't believe that that's happened to me sort of situation. I can't believe that this person asked me to bow down to them. And then the white guy can just say, well, I was having a manic a depression mode, or whatever he wants to say. The reality is that how often are we going to keep getting our Negro wake-up call when we deal with these situations with different groups of people? The reality is nobody will respect you if you don't respect yourself. And I'm not saying that she didn't respect herself. She probably did, right? Most likely. But the reality that I'm seeing for a lot of ladies out there, that, you know, if you're going to go over there and deal with somebody white and then they hear you talking down on men who are black, are the same thing for black men. I mean, you go over to these other groups of ladies and you talk down on the women in your own community in front of them. It's different if you're doing it with your homeboys in your own sector. But if you're going to other groups and down talking black men where they can say, how much respect do you think they have for you? And this sort of thing can happen to anybody. It's not a black or white thing. This is a human thing, right? Women can even, you know, hit their husband or vice versa, and or even hit each other, or whoever the case may yield. It's not a black thing, okay? Mistakes are not just for black people. Everybody commits mistakes. And the sooner that we understand it, the better. But guys, what do you think? It's your boy O'Shea Duke Jackson, back at it again with another episode of The Celebrity Junk. I already put you for all you do. Subscribe to the bell. We're out.